He's the same size as John, which is very unusual for John to face someone that's his height. And he's really f***ing strong too.
That was the intangible that I think that John didn't expect. He didn't expect for him to be as strong as he was.
When he's able to get back up every time, like
when he get up like he wasn't even on him. Like, dang.
His legs are fucking huge. You look at Reyes' legs.
Oh, huge.
Yeah,
huge.
I mean, he's got tremendous power. I mean, both with his punches, but also with his ability to move, man. He was throwing great kicks. He was chopping at John's legs. I mean, out of any fight in John's future, I want to see a rematch.
He said everything he did, anything anybody said about him, anything that any of his family said, I listened. And I dialed in exactly who he was and exactly, and I beat him.
This week was a funny one. Someone reported that the fight's done, it's got a date. Then the next day someone reported the fight's off, and then John's not taking it. Where do we stand with that fight?
Everything you hear is bullshit until we say it.
So that fight is still the target for both men?
I've said it many times that's the fight that we want to make this year. Yeah.
This fight is going to happen. In fact, this fight is going to happen next. You will not see John Jones fight and it not be Tom Aspinall. I can give you that as an assurance.
While the MMA world eagerly awaits a potential John Jones versus Tom Aspinall showdown, Joe Rogan dives into the controversial John Jones versus Dominick Reyes fight, analyzing what went wrong and what could have been different. Rogan's insights provides a deeper understanding of Jones's past battles and what lies ahead for him against Aspinall.
I think he knew Dominick Reyes physically is a talented guy. Yeah. He's a great athlete. He has tremendous footwork. His ability to change angles and then fire back is insane.
Oh, no.
It's so good.
So Joe Rogan broke down John Jones's fight with Dominick Reyes, pointing out that it was a perfect example of why championship fights should be 5 rounds. He explained that Reyes clearly won the first 2 rounds, and the 3rd round was the one people debated the most. Rogan said most experts he talked to believe Jones clearly won the last 2 rounds, but the 3rd was close. Reyes landed more, but Jones was the one pressing the action, which might have influenced the judges. Still, many felt Reyes edged it, with the 3rd round being the key roundup for debate.
What's interesting about that fight is, first of all, it's a great argument for 5-round championship fights, because for the first 3 rounds, Dominick Reyes was winning.
Yeah.
The question is whether he won the 3rd round. That's the one I believe that's up for grabs. Most people that I've talked to think John won the last 2 clearly. Most people that I talk to that are experts, most people, few disagree, believe that Dominick Reyes won the first 3. And the 3rd round is the one that seems to be, you could go, well, Dominick scored more, but it was close enough where you could see someone giving it to John, particularly since John was pressing the action. John was pushing forward. Maybe you give it to John, but they thought Dominick won it.
Joe Rogan further said that he always wished for a rematch between John Jones and Dominick Reyes. He explained that after that fight, Reyes had the experience of knowing how close he was to beating Jones, and with better conditioning, he could be even more dangerous over 5 rounds. Rogan also noted that neither fighter took serious damage in their first fight, making a rematch even more realistic and exciting.
Out of any fight in John's future, I want to see a rematch. I really want to see what Dominick Reyes looks like now with this rub, understanding how close he was, and then the amount of conditioning that he's going to have to put himself through to be able to do that again 5 rounds. And it's not like either guy got fucked up in that fight where they're going to be severely damaged.
Recently, Dominick Reyes also talked about John Jones's personal life and his fight with him. He believes John Jones's drive stems from a sense of inadequacy compared to his brothers. He saw Jones as the outlier in the family, someone who struggled to stand out early on, and that feeling of being overlooked fueled his determination to prove himself, driving his hunger for greatness in the cage.
John wasn't good at anything. He was kind of the one that was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like the black sheep.
So he had something to prove. That's why he fought with so much vigor and so much power, proving something. No, I'm just as good as my brothers. I'm better. I'm gonna be more famous, you know? And that's kind of what drove him through his career. I believe, in my personal opinion.
Reyes sensed that Jon Jones tried to portray his disciplined background and academic success as a weakness, which Reyes interpreted as insecurity. During a press conference, when Jones mentioned reading Relentless by Tim Grover, Reyes casually revealed that not only had he read it multiple times, but also knew the author personally, causing Jones's demeanor to shift, as if realizing Reyes was on a different level.
I can see
And
it.
that's why when we fought, he was saying, oh, Dom's a privileged athlete, 4.0 student guy, trying to make it a bad thing that that I got a college degree and I'm good at, and I was blessed, right? So that to me told me that he was insecure about who he is versus me. And then he told me, during the press conference, he said, I'm reading this book, Relentless, by Tim Grover. I'm like, oh yeah, I read that book a bunch of times. And I'm actually friends with Tim. And I saw his face change, the heck? Bro, I'm levels ahead of you. I'm levels ahead of you.
Reyes further believed that during the press conference, Jon Jones realized he wasn't facing someone he could easily intimidate or dominate. With conviction, Reyes shared his unwavering belief that he was destined to beat Jones, making it clear he didn't fear Jones's reputation or status. In his mind, he was the better man, made for that moment, and it was that confidence that ultimately broke Jones down.
But during that press conference, he realized I wasn't just a guy that he could just run over and do whatever he wants, and it's just, he's gonna have his way. He thought he was gonna do that, and then he started talking to me and hearing me talk and hearing my conviction and hearing my journey and how convinced I was that I'm gonna beat you. This is my destiny, bro. I don't care what you say or who you think you are. I'm better than you. God made me better than you, right? Yeah, and that's how I broke him down.
On the other hand, there is still a lot of confusion about the Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall fight confirmation. Tom Aspinall's father shared his frustration about the long wait for the Jon Jones fight. He questioned why the UFC insists Tom shouldn't fight anyone else, and criticized the ongoing uncertainty. He pointed out that it's already April, yet they're still waiting for Jon Jones to either accept or decline the fight. In his view, Jones as a fighter should be more active instead of sitting around without giving a clear answer.
Do you understand why fans are frustrated as well?
Yeah, of course I do. Yeah, stupid. I have no idea the reason why the UFC don't really want Tom to fight anybody else other than Jon Jones. Stay tuned. That's the message they wanted Tom to give out to people. And we had the meeting with Hunter, and they're going to try and fix the fight with Jon Jones, but we're still in April now, still waiting for this guy to say, I'll have a fight or I'll not have a fight. And I don't really understand that. He's a fighter who should be having fights. Why is he just still sat around not giving an answer as to whether he's going to fight or not?
Tom Aspinall's father continued, saying Tom has done everything asked of him, even fighting in the middle of the night to defend the interim title. He pointed out that while Tom could fight lower-ranked opponents, doing so risks losing the chance to face Jon Jones, which would be a huge missed opportunity. Beating Jones, considered the best ever, would be a massive achievement. He questioned why the top-ranked fighter should have to face many lower-ranked contenders, calling the whole situation confusing and frustrating.
Tom's done all he can do. You know, he's fought in the middle of the night to defend an interim. He fought for an interim because the fight was on for him to do an interim, and he couldn't turn it down, and he won that. What else can he do? He can fight lesser people than Jon Jones, lesser ranked people than Jon Jones, but that means that he may miss the opportunity to fight Jon Jones, which is a massive opportunity because he's the champion and he's the best there's ever been. And if Tom beats him, that's great. And what other choices has he got to sit around and fight one? You know, he could fight number 8 ranked guy now. Why should number 1 fight number 8? I don't know. It's all a bit funny to me. I don't know.
However, the former UFC legend Chael Sonnen confidently said that the Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall fight is definitely happening, and it's happening next. He assured that Jon Jones would only return to face Aspinall, although he couldn't fully guarantee that Aspinall wouldn't fight someone else if needed. Sonnen also dismissed all the rumors about Jones delaying or avoiding the fight, saying they were false. According to him, when Dana White makes the call, Jones says yes, and that's the only moment that truly matters.
This fight is going to happen. In fact, this fight is going to happen next. You will not see Jon Jones fight and it not be Tom Aspinall. I can give you that as an assurance. I can't do it the other way. I cannot tell you that there's no scenario where Tom Aspinall fights and it would be against anyone but Jon Jones. I can't do that. I'm very close. I can go further. You will see Jon Jones fight Tom Aspinall. All the reports that you've heard that Jon is holding this fight up, they're not true. Jon has gone to the media and he's had his fun. The litmus test is when that phone rings and it's Dana White, what is said in that moment. That's the only way you go into the category of delaying and or ducking. That did not happen. That is a false report.
UFC legend Georges St-Pierre also shared his verdict for this fight and expressed his admiration for Jon Jones, calling him probably the best fighter that ever lived. St-Pierre emphasized that if he had to pick someone in their prime to compete in a hand-to-hand battle in the Coliseum, it would be Jon Jones. He acknowledged how difficult it is to deny Jones's greatness in the sport.
You talk about legacy, like Jon Jones, you know, it's probably the best fighter that ever lives. You know, talk about if I have to choose someone in his prime that I put in the Coliseum hand to hand, I think it would be Jon Jones. You know, it's hard to deny that.
Georges St-Pierre acknowledged that while Jon Jones is one of the greatest fighters of all time, no one can escape the passage of time. He pointed out that Tom Aspinall is on an impressive streak, and it will be interesting to see how the two fighters match up. St-Pierre expressed his excitement as a fan, stating he would love to see the fight. However, he also recognized Aspinall's hunger for victory, and said it's now up to Jon Jones to decide if he still wants to compete at the highest level. St-Pierre emphasized that if the UFC offers Jones a substantial reward, it could make for a thrilling matchup.
However, nobody beats time, and Tom Aspinall is on a hell of a run now. So it's to see how they get a match. You know, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. As a fan, I want to see this fight. I would like to see this fight, but I think Tom is very hungry, and it's up to Jon to see if he still wants to do this and if the UFC can compensate him good, because I think he deserves it. So
former MMA fighter Rampage Jackson expressed his belief that no one on the planet could beat Jon Jones, as he had faced Jones when he was at his best and never lost until that fight. He added that while he respects Tom Aspinall and considers him a good fighter, probably the second best in the division, he doesn't see Aspinall defeating Jones. When asked about the potential fight between Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall, Rampage acknowledged Aspinall's talent but made it clear that he doesn't see him winning against Jones.
You fought Jon Jones back in the day. People are
why you only bringing up my losses?
People are all talking about Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. How do you see that fight going? You got Tom or you got Jon?
Man, I don't think there's nobody on this planet that can beat Jon Jones, because I was in there with him. I was at my best, and I've never lost a fight at my best until Jon Jones. And, you know, no disrespect to Tom Aspinall, but he a good fighter. You know what I'm saying? I think he's probably second best out there, but I don't see him.
In another interview, Rampage Jackson shared some similar thoughts. He believes any heavyweight can beat Jon Jones, calling him one of the greatest fighters ever. He made it clear he meant no disrespect to Tom Aspinall, saying he's a great fighter and that he's a fan of Aspinall too.
I don't even think any heavyweight could beat Jon Jones. I think he solidifies himself as like one of the greatest fighters on the planet. And no disrespect to Aspinall. I think Aspinall is a great fighter. I'm a fan of his as well.
Rampage Jackson explained that Jon Jones's dominance comes from his strong mindset. Reflecting on his own fight with Jones, Rampage admitted he had underestimated him. After that, he paid close attention to Jones's career and noticed how he used unique techniques like spinning elbows to the back of the head. Rampage said Jones did things no one else was doing and showed amazing control inside the cage, proving how mentally tough he is.
I think the reason why Jon Jones has been so successful in MMA and been dominating for so long is because his mind is super strong. You know, I've been in the cage with that kid, and I heavily underestimated him, and I've been watching his fights ever since. And I see the stuff that he do. He was doing stuff that nobody was doing. Nobody was doing spinning elbows, even though they was illegal because it was in the back of your head. But it was a good technique when nobody was doing stuff like that. And this is the way he controlled the octagon, the way he does everything. His mind is really strong. And
so while everyone seems to be very excited for this matchup, the heavyweight champ Jon Jones hasn't officially accepted this fight and showed any interest in facing Aspinall. Earlier, Jones revealed that he doesn't like the English fighter at all. Jon Jones made it clear he finds Tom Aspinall annoying on a personal level, even if fans find him entertaining. Jones also said that if he does end up giving Aspinall the opportunity to fight him, he expects to be heavily compensated and wants you money, meaning a huge payday.
He's annoying to me. He's annoying to me. And that's my own personal, he annoys me. I get to you guys, you find it entertaining, but I find him annoying. And I just don't like him. And at the end of the day, if I give him the opportunity to fight me, I want to be so compensated. I want to say it, I want that you money, honestly. And that's just what it is.
Chael Sonnen reacted to that statement, and he believes Jon Jones deserves to get whatever he demands. Chael Sonnen said he agrees with Jon Jones. The fight against Tom Aspinall would be the biggest heavyweight fight ever, and the biggest fight the sport can make right now. He believes Jon would leave with the biggest payday of his career. Sonnen said if Jon isn't confident he can draw enough attention, it's hard for him to demand a big guaranteed payout. He explained Jon already has a participation clause in his contract, meaning he'll earn a share of the profits with no extra risk. He just needs to fight.
I think Jon's right. I think that's the biggest heavyweight fight of all time. I think that's the biggest fight our industry can make right now. He's going to leave there with the biggest check, and that's going to include soaring over Brock Lesnar and the other greats. He's going to be rewarded for it. But if Jon is not confident that he can actually bring in that kind of attention, then how do you go to the table and go, well, give me a guarantee up front? It's like, I've given you a guarantee. I'm guaranteeing you a piece of the business, and you don't have any risk. Just get in there and throw your punches and kicks. I'll handle it from there. It's a very great spot, and somebody should sit Jon down and explain, this is the one. All this work you've done for that big pay, this is the one. But we don't need to change the contract. It's already in your contract. And I think if you do explain that to Jon, Jon's more reasonable than people think. He really is a fairly reasonable guy, but you got to explain it to him.
Sure.
He trusts. He doesn't learn things on his own. He trusts other people. Those people need to just explain to him what the participation contract clause means. I think he would be very happy.
Daniel Cormier also reacted to Jon Jones's reported demand of $30 million. He said that as someone who's been involved in big fights and sold pay-per-views, he understands how the business works. Cormier explained that during his prime, $30 million seemed like an impossible number compared to what fighters were making. He recalled getting a big bump in pay for a short-notice fight at Madison Square Garden, where the gate alone was $16 million. Based on those numbers, Cormier said Jon's demand doesn't seem as crazy as some people are making it out to be.
I'll tell you guys right now, as a person that has been involved in big fights, a person that has sold pay-per-views, a person that at his time was at the top of the pay scale, $30 million was literally a world away from anything we were making. I remember when I got paid in New York, I got like a big bump to take a fight on 3 weeks notice, which ultimately became my salary, and people were astounded with the number. But hold on, let me see. Let me look at the gate for Madison Square Garden. A $16 million gate. That's a massive gate. That's a massive gate from Jon Jones. Okay, how many pay-per-views did they sell? Now, when you start looking at it like that, you start going, I don't know if his ask is as crazy as people are saying.
On the other hand, after mocking Jon Jones for ducking, Aspinall has revealed that he knows what's going to happen and who he is gonna fight next. Aspinall recently gave an update saying he understands that fans are eager for fight news. He shared that he does know what's happening behind the scenes as he's had meetings with the UFC, but he's been sworn to secrecy for now. Aspinall encouraged everyone to stay tuned to his and the UFC's channels because an announcement should be coming very soon. While he couldn't give any details yet, he promised that news was on the way.
I know everyone wants fight news. But I do know what's happening. I have had meetings with the UFC, as we know. I have been sworn to secrecy for a little bit. So stay tuned, stay up with the channels, stay up with the UFC channels, of course, as always, as you guys always do. But there will be news coming, hopefully, very, very soon. But if you're gonna ask me, I can't give the answer right now.
Tom Aspinall also gave a health update, saying it was good he stayed inactive because he hasn't been fully healthy. He revealed he caught a virus before Christmas and has struggled with it on and off all year. Tom admitted he didn't rest enough, but after taking antibiotics, he's finally recovering. He also said the illness made him realize the importance of proper proper recovery. However, Tom Aspinall continues to fire at Jon Jones as he said that the champ is afraid of him. He explained that Jones is avoiding a real challenge by not agreeing to fight. Aspinall admitted he's been stirring things up on purpose to get a reaction and test Jones's ego, and he thinks it might be working since Jones seems annoyed. He isn't sure if Jones is truly upset or just playing mind games, but Aspinall suggested it could all be part of a bigger plan. Maybe Jones is just waiting for the right deal to make the fight happen.
Why is John scared of you?
I don't know, because he wants the easy fight. But I have the faith. I have the faith. I think John's getting a bit ticked off with me at the minute, which is my intention. I'm trying to test his ego to see if he can be like, right, actually, I'm the man at heavyweight. I'm going to show you. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. It seems that John is getting a little bit fuming with me, so that'd be nice if he continues that.
Is he already selling it? Is this all?
He might be trolling everybody. Who knows?
Is he thinking, you know, didn't he say the UFC might come in with an offer? You never know.
You never know.
This might be part of it.
It might be.
Furthermore, UFC heavyweight Cain Velasquez also gave his thoughts on this potential fight, saying that matchups are what make the heavyweight scene interesting. While he showed respect for what Tom Aspinall has accomplished, Cain was clear when asked if Aspinall could beat Jon Jones. He doesn't think Tom would win.
It's the matchups, you know, like the matchups was what makes everything interesting. So I think it's great what he's doing.
You think he beats Jon Jones? Do you think he beats Jon?
No, I don't think he does.
Cain Velasquez further explained that after watching Tom Aspinall, he noticed certain patterns in his striking. He believes Jon Jones would pick up on those weaknesses, given his expertise as a strategist who thoroughly studies his opponents. With Jones's high fight IQ and preparation, Cain doesn't think Aspinall would be able to overcome him.
So me just watching him, I kind of see his pattern a little bit, and his striking, the way he comes in and strikes. I think Jon sees it too.
Okay.
So I think with that, just because again, he studies, man. He does his homework. You know, he's a master at this. He analyzes things. He studies you over and over again. I think just for that reason, he's gonna know what to do. So I don't think he beats Jon. No.
Cain Velasquez emphasized that while Tom Aspinall is explosive and effective, his striking approach is quite direct. He tends to come in full force, often lunging with his attacks, which makes his rhythm more predictable. Cain pointed out that against an opponent like Jon Jones, who meticulously studies his opponents and adapts his strategy, this predictability could be a disadvantage. Because of this, Cain believes Jon would be able to beat Aspinall.
He comes in and fights. He doesn't have a pattern that's somewhat easier to find when he comes in and strikes. And I think you know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of things come with that. It's disguising your pattern. It's, you know, throwing fakes here and there before. But when he comes to attacks, he comes in and attacks. It's 100% full go. You know, he comes in, glides in, lunges in, and does his attack. Again, not that it's not effective. It is. You know, he's done great things with it. I mean, look where he's at now. Not taking anything away from him. No, he is. But I think with the type of guy that Jon Jones is, I think he studies him and he beats him because of that.
Well, the Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall fight is stirring up strong opinions across the MMA world. With contrasting views on whether Jones will accept the challenge, the debate continues. While many admire Jones's legacy and fighting IQ, others, including Aspinall himself, remain convinced he's avoiding the matchup. Regardless of the outcome, this fight has become one of the most anticipated in recent memory, and fans are eager to see what unfolds next. To get more updates about this fight and other UFC news, make sure to subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to get instant notification about our latest videos.